Hello everyone, God of Ka here. I discovered a tabletop role-playing game called Fabula Ultima. Fabula Ultima is a TTJRPG inspired by Japanese role-playing games. You and your friends tell epic stories of aspiring heroes and fearsome villains, set in fantasy worlds filled with magic, fantastical places, and monsters you can only dream of. I came across this game while browsing YouTube for D&D related videos. This game was described as the D&D that dweebs like me will 100% enjoy. So I looked up a lot about it, and the main parts that taught me hook, line, and sinker was the fact this system does not have a 100% pre-made setting. You and your players create a world yourselves, and the system gives you the tools to do that. This will make players more invested in the game due to them making a good majority of the world. So, to start things off, I was able to get the Press Start Starter Adventure for free as a downloadable PDF. Read it over and start to get a group together. This was slightly difficult for me because when I used to play D&D, I used to play with mostly strangers online via play by post or over VC on Discord. From this, you could tell I needed to try to gather a group from somewhere. But that will be a story for another time. And if you want the details of it, let me know in the comments below. I will only do it when I have at least 14 different people asking for it. I will say, however, the first session was not great due to what happened behind that story, so things needed changing. I would see if a solo player experience would be good, so I needed to modify the rules in Press Start so that my only player would still have as much freedom as they would have if we had a full player count of 4 for this adventure. As for the player I wanted to try this with, that would be my friend who we will call Edgar. I did a lot of preparation for this, and I was ready. How did it go? Way better. Edgar chose Edgar, and I asked him if he wanted to redo scene 1, and he was fine with going with whatever. So I decided to skip to scene 2. From there, we would answer the questions in scene 2 and assign bonds for each PC related to one of the other 3 that is not the same PC. Moving on to scene 3, we talk about game master scenes and the Fabula points and what they could be used for up to now. After that, in scene 4, Cassandra will be taking the lead in a group check and oh boy was that rough. Everyone failed to beat the difficulty level in each of their respective checks, and the team would be going into Scene 5 with 5 less HP and MP, where I then describe what HP and MP are. Now, for the last scene of this session would be Scene 5, the first combat conflict scene. And boy, was this scene intense for Levine specifically. As I was told to run this scene, all attacks were to be randomly chosen, unless it's this flying menace. So I had the Wheel of Misfortune decide the fate of the targets for these attacks. And they would mostly land on Levine, and even if they would land on anyone else, they would most likely miss on the die roll. As I said, the wheel had no mercy on Levine, so she ended up with 12 HP and having the slow and shaken status effects at the end of the battle. And that's where the first official session of press start ended. Edgar really loved how smooth we were able to get through things when it is just me and him. That's 4 scenes in 3.5 hours. But the game's not over yet. We begin session 2 with a recap of what we've went through so far, and then the bringing up of Olivia is brought to the forefront, and I asked Edgar what he wanted to do. I bring up replenishing from the last battle, looking at the scene, even socializing. He agrees that replenishing is what we should be doing right now, and so we did. Levine really needed it since the enemies really beat her down real good. As I mentioned, the wheel didn't favor her a lot. Anyways, with all that all set, Edgar was satisfied and ready to move on to the next scene. After role-playing as Blair and Olivia, we then move on. The next scene is more rules explaining and actions that the players are now able to make. After all of that, we go into the last scene. Desdemona and Tristan introduce themselves to the party proper, and the decision that is the turning point of this whole game. Cassandra's decision from Desdemona's warning towards her. You see, Desdemona is Cassandra's mentor, and there is a lot of respect that she has for her. But she's sided with the Empire. So, what does she do? I have a random wheel decide, and it said for her to leave the scene. I roleplay her as a nervous wreck before finally deciding to book it from the scene. I won't lie, I was hoping she would have stayed so I could try some negotiation during the battle with her. But it could have been worse. But with all that said and done, initiative is overruled and the enemy team is going first. And this was also dangerous. These two have a high DPR, damage per roll, and we needed to constantly heal the party every other round. When we finally find the weakness for Tristan by just finding out, Blair gets taken out by a Ventus spell, knocked out from being smashed against the wall from the gust of wind. Oh, the penultimate turn was Edgar finally defeating the Tristan being used as armor for Desdemona. This was hype, with Desdemona being weak to dark, also discovered by just finding out. As long as we survived one Ventus from her, a Shadow Strike would do the trick. The last turn is here. Desdemona readies her Ventus spell, and when I rolled to hit, I got a 7 and a 6. Since Ventus dealt high roll plus 15 damage, it was over. When this one normally defeats the players, the game needed me to do the following. Use the spell/attack that would defeat the party to attack the center pillar to cause the building to collapse in on itself. That would end the PC's lives while she fled from the scene. When the PCs that were in battle get out of the rubble, Cassandra is there apologizing over and over for her cowardice. Blair was still unconscious, now in Levine's arms, so Levine and Edgar give her a piece of their minds, which I loved. Will not lie, I did like this moment. Edgar is always the kind of person who would RP understanding at first, but gets brutally honest after. Makes it hurt even more honestly. I finally end the game with Blair waking up asking if the angels are coming. Edgar and I loved playing this game, and after it all, Edgar wanted to play more Fabula Ultima, which I was excited for. So when this video is live, me and Edgar will most likely be playing our first real game of Fabula Ultima. And so, with all this said, this is God of Ka, signing off. Call to action! Call to action! Like the video? Smash that like button! Don't want to miss out when a video is up? Subscribe and ring that bell icon. Get me to 50 subs and I'll make a 50 subs special. Want videos that YouTube will strike down? Follow me on Odyssey. Call to action! Call to action! Call to action!